presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game. Big Ten champions. Big Ten champs.
National champions, yes.
Oklahoma City bound the Oregon Ducks.
Awesome day to be a Duck, man.
Boom inside. Touchdown Oregon. He gets loose. Fires. Hit. Pops the three. Oh, yeah. It's all Oregon.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
It's about how to be a group of people that know how to love each other to the absolute fullest.
Pleasure, joy to be with them each and every day. And I can't wait for the future.
It's just fun to be a part of a community that cares, that is passionate, and when we come together, powerful things can happen.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Let's do that. We've got Dan Lanning, Oregon football head coach, after practice today. Freshman wide receiver DeCorian Moore met with the media for the very first time after practice today. That'll be available on the Go Ducks YouTube. We'll have it for you on the show as well over the next couple days. The agenda, Chris Clayton from our crew, talking football, talking women's basketball, will join us after we hear from Coach Lanning. Also, Tracy, Joyner in the Oregon soccer program. They're hitting the road for a matchup tomorrow. We have our weekly conversation with Coach Joyner. Some honors for women's tennis. Men's golf is in action right now if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. You can actually maybe leave work a little earlier, fire it up in the background if you're listening to us and watching us at work. Golf Channel's got some men's golf, Oregon men's golf coverage coming your way this afternoon in the tournament that the Ducks are taking part in. We also have a number of Oregon football student athletes meeting with the media as well. The Oregon Football Coaches Show tonight. Assistant head coach and running back coach Rashad Samples will be with us. A lot to cover with Rashad Samples. That's at 7 o'clock tonight across the Oregon Sports Network, our Toyota Coaches Show. We'll also chat with Mateo Uiagalelei tonight. Last year's Big Ten leader in sacks, putting together perhaps an All-American caliber season. Mateo Uiagalelei with us tonight. Across the Oregon Sports Network, on the Oregon football social media channels, you can watch via the Go Ducks YouTube. Join us. We look forward to a fun evening talking running backs, rushing the passer, and Oregon, Indiana coming up with a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. Dan Lanning after practice today, the Oregon football head coach, brought to you by the Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. Home game upcoming for the Ducks.
Good day of work today. Still a lot of details to clean up when you have a team that does so much on the other side. So they really present some tough challenges that we had to be prepared for. But our guys have had a good week of practice so far.
Dante talked yesterday about this team needing to have blinders on throughout the season, not just this week, but all season. How have you seen this team react to that, and especially the young guys that are getting a lot of success early on?
Yeah, I think they've done a good job of I'm saying, hey, this is the standard. This is what we expect us to do in certain moments, and knowing that we're basing it off of what, not the result, but what the process should look like.
Talked a bit in the offseason about younger players, first and second year guys having leadership opportunities this year. I'm wondering with just DeCorian in particular, what kind of stands out from that part of his game? Just
the improvement, right? I think one of the best ways you can lead is continue to grow, and he's gotten better and better, and he's growing a voice. He feels very comfortable speaking in front of the team, saying what he sees, and I think his play is speaking for itself. As long as that continues to improve and grow like it has, it's going to make a huge impact.
I asked you last week about Gary Bryant, so I want to ask you the same question about Malik. So the senior presence, what he's brought to the team, and has he been instrumental in, one, helping Dante grow and maybe young players like DeCorian?
Yeah, I said it to Malik the other day, man. He's just, you recognize him as a really good teammate, right? You see a guy down, he's over there, he's going to make sure he gets him up. You see a guy on the ground, he's going to help him up off the ground. If he's going to be one of those guys that regardless of who scores the touchdown, if it's him or somebody else, I mean, he's celebrating it like he just scored. So it's just, he's a selfless person. He's a really dynamic player for us. It's been nice to have on this team.
You mentioned that's going to be difficult to stop just the different options that they present on offense. What goes particularly into trying to stay disciplined with your safeties and linebackers when they do all the RPOs and stuff that they have in offense?
Yeah, similar to what I said early in the week, that you got to farm your land. You have to do your job. Trust the guy next to you to do his, and then rally to the ball when it is decided where that ball's going.
You don't usually let true freshmen talk to media members, but DeCorian's talking to us later today. What is it about him that gives you the confidence to have him be one of the many faces of this team?
I just think that we have some guys that are in roles where they're helping us early, and want to give those guys an opportunity.
Where have you seen the greatest amount of growth in DeCorian, Dan? Even going back to spring when he first got here.
Probably just more than anything, the way he deals with adversity, right? You come in and you expect yourself to have a lot of success, and he's done a great job of handling success. I think it's hard when things don't go right, and how he's handled those moments in practice, how he's continued to grow. I think that's huge, and there's a lot of pressure on a guy like him and his status. There's a lot of eyes, and he's been able to handle that pressure really well.
A lot of talk about Fernando being somebody you faced previously, but Roman Hemby at Maryland, a guy you played last year, kind of what stands out about him and his kind of role in that run game?
Yeah, they're I think everybody thinks RPO and they think about the passes. They don't realize that they're a really explosive run team. Those guys have good quickness. They hit the hole, get vertical quickly, and that's certainly what sets everything else up in the run game. Is the run first, right? Sets up the RPOs and makes people have a loaded box. So they've done a really good job running the ball this year. Well over 200 yards rushing a game, which is impressive.
You mentioned last week, just with the bye, being able to really self-scout and then have a chance to kind of put some wrinkles in your tendencies that you have. When you're preparing for a team that also had the same opportunity to kind of take the bye, change some things, how important will in-game adjustments be when you do see maybe something that you haven't seen on film from earlier this season?
Yeah, there'll certainly be something different, right, in this game, and you don't know exactly what that'll be. So, our coaches have done a really good job throughout games this season of IDing the different looks and how we can best defend or best attack on offense, and that'll be a big piece of this game for sure.
The receiver Surratt for them has been really good at the catch point, especially on the outside. How does that present a challenge for you guys in the secondary and your cornerbacks?
Yeah, the 50-50 balls can't be 50-50 balls, right? We have to be able to go compete for those and win on defense, and vice versa, same thing on offense. When you get one-on-one, you have to be able to take advantage of it. So they've done a really good job, when they have one-on-one coverage, taking advantage of those guys, and they have big catch radiuses, and they attack the ball.
Coach, yesterday Dante talked a lot about how much, every win means to him and the amount of work that he puts in. When you see the level of emotion that he put into that, weekend win against Penn State, what sort of impact does that have on the rest of the players and especially some of the younger players to show that the hard work he is putting in pays off and to see that level of emotion?
Yeah, I think it's more that. I think it's more about the hard work, right? And they realize hard work works, right? There's no secret sauce, right? If you're willing to put in the effort and the time and you have the talent, right, it'll pay off. And he's been a great example of that.
We talked earlier this week just about how these freshman corners have been able to come in and be so successful, but Kennedy's come in just from the portal and been just phenomenal early. What's made him so successful just personally, and then as how he's worked with the secondary?
Yeah, he works really hard, right? And that's a common theme with our players. When your best players are some of your hardest workers, that's something that separates it. And then I think Jaden has an unbelievable football IQ, just natural instincts, ability. You talk about football instincts. He's a guy that has great football instincts. He can feel routes. He understands where the quarterback's working. He plays with great speed and physicality. Those things all really, really matter at that position.
For all of DeCorian's physical gifts and talents, when was it clear to you guys that the mental side was there to where he could be an immediate contributor from the jump?
Yeah, every single person's different, but the amount of plays and load that we put on these guys mentally, I think can be really taxing. And I feel like our playbook's as open as it's ever been based on those guys being out there on the field and learning your job. So that's just a great example. Some guys, they come in and they learn packages and you build it up. He's a guy that's been able to handle it all, throw the kitchen sink at him, and mentally handle what we're asking him to do.
Dan Lanning, Oregon football head coach, breaking it down after practice today. The Ducks will practice again Thursday and Friday before that 12:30 kickoff on Saturday at Autzen Stadium. Those of you who are with us at Autzen Stadium, try out goducks.com/in-venue audio. Jerry and Jorgie, zero latency, no delay play-by-play in your ears. Just like the transistor radio days, but you can use your phone. And I know, if I can't send a text message at Autzen, then how could I listen to a broadcast? Yeah, I know. Cell service is cell service at Autzen Stadium. I can tell you that the group we've worked with has put together a pretty cool map that is very eye-popping in terms of, well, the person sitting in that seat's going to have a great experience listening to the game. This seat, not so much. So I do know that some of you will have better luck than others, but thanks for tuning in. It's been a fun experiment for us this year, and we plan to continue doing it based on the positive reviews that we've received. We also used it at Penn State and Northwestern for some Duck fans, and they found it to be pretty cool using it mostly at Northwestern, because I'll be honest with you, my phone didn't work at Penn State for 5 hours. It's just kind of the way it is sometimes. But try it out. GoDucks.com/in-venue audio. No delay play-by-play in our venues. We're planning on continuing it throughout the rest of this season and beyond. Up next, talk about another venue of note. Matthew Knight Arena will be hosting some basketball here this month. That's right. Chris Clayton's going to join us when we come back. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
We know you turn to the Duck Store for all your game day needs. And for students at the University of Oregon, it's even more. Class supplies, jobs, a seat on our board, a place to take a quick coffee break. Because we're your student-first, non-profit college store, every purchase you make directly supports the very community we serve. From working at our counters to studying in the classroom, from directing our stores to cheering in the stands, the people we serve, the students, are the very people who are the Duck Store.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You say you never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, no, it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Let's take a moment to breathe. Deep inhale. Extend your spine. Remain focused on what you're doing. If safe to do so, exhale slowly, leaning to one side. Inhale back to center. If safe to do so, exhale slowly to the opposite side. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. This message is brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. Don't forget to say you will. Don't forget to say yeah.
It's Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. So Chris Clayton filling in for Dusty Hare on a couple things this week. One, pregame interview. We'll tell you a little bit about that. Part of our 10:30 pregame show coming your way across the Oregon Sports Network, network-wide on Saturday. And he's also getting ready for Oregon women's basketball. The season's going to be here before we know it. I, myself, getting ready for men's basketball. Season going to be here before we know it. Looks like 2 rosters that are pretty darn talented. A lot of returning faces and a couple new faces for Oregon women's basketball. On the men's side, the core 3, if you can call them that, return. Media days continuing, by the way, around the Big Ten today and tomorrow for the both basketball programs. But also some new faces and some transfers in for Oregon men's basketball that we'll be getting to know. We sat down with Chris Clayton covering a lot of football and an awful lot of women's basketball, too. So Dusty Hare wasn't able to come down from Portland this week, and I thought, well, women's basketball season's approaching. Chris Clayton is here.
Let's go, Chris.
Get to talk with Chris about women's basketball season coming up. We just got the TV selections, for example, so the schedule is taking full shape. And also gives us a chance to talk a little bit about what Chris has done around Oregon football. Honorary captain interviews that have continued. Thanks to our friends at the Order of the O for always coordinating. Chris has done those all year. And I always say the broadcaster sounds good when the team is good, and the fact is that the broadcast crew at home has sounded pretty darn good this year.
That's right. A lot of success at home. It makes life a lot easier for us. We don't have to really even think about what we're talking about in terms of our angles. I mean, everything's great, right?
Yeah. What has been your read, though, so far? I mean, you're like me. You've been around Oregon football now for a number of years. What's your read on this team right now?
I think the talent is incredible, first of all. The level of professional talent at every position is insane. I'm not sure top to bottom on a roster there's been an Oregon team with this level of talent. But I also think there's a mentality of professionalism as well. So every day, their approach, every play, the pride they take in seeing one another's success is amazing. It feels like there's no egos that are affecting how this team plays. They are all in on the team's success. And I'm not saying past teams had egos and blah, blah, blah. There was big issues with that, but this team really embodies that, the pure, genuine joy they have for one another. For example, with downfield blocking that you see, the amount of pride and pure bliss they have when somebody gets flattened downfield. I think that's something that we can talk about because it's easy for us to visually see, but they have that play-to-play, and that's what takes a team to a championship level. You know, it's these big picture things that can sound like cliches where it's like, it's one thing to have talent, but you have to have X, Y, and Z to win a championship. It feels like the DNA of this team is there with how they treat one another, how they communicate. Professional talent, professional mentality, and I think it's special.
Well, and you've talked with a number of student athletes, and one of them coming up for our pregame show, even Jamari Johnson. Like, I thought it was interesting to hear your conversation with him just about the way that even Coach Lanning goes about motivating a team, right? Give us a preview of that interview coming up on the pregame show.
Yeah, I asked him about the motivational speeches that everybody sees from Dan Lanning. Duck fans get a great glimpse of that in Ducks versus Them week to week, and you know, people watch that on their phones or their TV or whatever, and you want to run through a wall when you hear it as a fan. So I asked him as a player, you know, is that real? Does that happen for you as well? And he said, yeah, and his dad asked him the same thing. So these Dan Lanning speeches are becoming legendary and famous.
That's so great.
And he said it does resonate with the players, and it does have an impact. You know, I think you're going to be fired up if you go into a stadium of 110,000 people, let's be honest, but those little speeches Dan Lanning gives that extra fire and passion for the team that it gives to the fans when they watch it as well.
Chris will have you on halftime coming up. Again, we've had him at home games do our honorary captain interviews and also our halftime show here at Autzen Stadium. That'll be coming up as part of our 12:30 broadcast, a 10:30 pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network. I'm curious for something because you and I were in school at the same time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So college game day coming to campus was always cool, right? When we were students, it was cool. I have memories of, like, when I was a freshman, it came for the Arizona State game, for example. Like, do you have any of those? Like, do you remember, like, oh, game day was in town when you were a student?
Yes, I remember I was a freshman. They came for UCLA.
All right, yeah, okay.
With Brett Hundley, that was a good, really good UCLA team with Jim Moore as head coach. And I just remember, to be honest, I don't remember a lot from
that. So the 16 season? Is that right?
No, that would be.
No,
it was farther back. It was 13.
13.
Yeah. And if I look it up after, I might have the players wrong. But it was UCLA. I believe it was 13. And I just remember growing up as a Duck fan and growing up as a college football fan, having game day there was a huge deal. And for me to be a student while that was happening was, I mean, exhilarating. I was so excited. I don't think I slept the night before because they were out there so early. I slept like an hour.
Number 3 Oregon against number 12 UCLA, October 26, 2013.
There it is.
Good memory.
Yeah, because it was. And do you remember what the score was?
42-14.
That's right. Okay, I knew it went well, and I just remember my voice being completely gone by the end of the day because that was my freshman year when I was still kind of in the student section before I started doing some student radio stuff.
You were enjoying being a student.
Yeah, being a student. And
you walked across the river and through the woods.
Yes.
Right?
And it meant a lot to have game day there because it feels like the eyes of the country are on your campus and on your community. And it still feels that way. That's what's special about college game day, I think, is that a lot of these college towns are smaller communities. You know, they're not major cities that always get mentioned on national networks and everything. So it's a big deal to have game day in town. And even though the standard of Oregon is kind of like, well, game day should be here, it still means a lot.
Still cool.
It's still crazy, and I think Duck fans are going to be really excited. It's going to be an amazing environment again.
Yeah, it's always a fun experience. And I thought, like, okay, when you and I were going to be able to chat this week, just the way the schedules worked out, I thought, well, that's perfect, you know, because I feel like right around the time both of us were students was when it became sort of standard, right? It was like a lot of times you're waiting for, like, okay, which game do you think game day may come for? And now that's become a little bit routine, which is fun, you know. And I personally, and I've said this a lot, I feel like the last couple of years, I think that is yet another example, and it just reflects where Oregon's program is and where it was. I mean, like, when we were kids, right, like, Oregon would have been thrilled to get on a game day.
Yeah.
And now here it does happen every single year, and I think it speaks volumes to the growth of Oregon's athletic program, particularly in football.
Yeah, and I remember, for example, the Holiday Bowl against Oklahoma State in 2008, maybe 2007.
Right. And we were recently reminded of that with playing the Cowboys. Right?
I was just thinking about that because it was 2 ranked teams, and it was the Holiday Bowl. The reality is now be a little bit of a letdown, or maybe a lot of a letdown to make the Holiday Bowl. But at the time, it was a big opportunity. It's a nationally ranked team. You're in the Holiday Bowl. It's on national TV, and that was exciting. That was a thrilling game and a huge accomplishment. And it's just amazing now how times have changed and how there's just an expectation that the nation's eyes should be on Eugene.
Well,
and it's a testament to the work that's been put in.
I'm glad that you said that, too, because, like, I even think about, like, Dan Lanning's first year. You go to the Holiday Bowl, and it's like that was a building block.
Yeah.
Well, only 15, 20 years ago, we're having this conversation talking about, like, no, that was a great end of postseason opportunity. And certainly the playoff has shifted that. There's more teams that compete for the national title at that point of the season. It still means a lot, though.
It does.
No, I'm with you. Chris Clayton joining us. We've talked a lot of football. Honorary captains, what's that been like this year? Tell fans that have missed it what's gone on with the honorary captains.
It's so cool. What I love about the honorary captains is the Order of the O brings in some Oregon football legends. Players like Jeremiah Johnson came in last year and had John McCain come in this year, Luke McCain come in this year from the 1970s, and Terrell Turner, former Duck. And so it's an opportunity for players from 10 years ago or 40 years ago to come back to campus and be an honorary captain and get a big ovation from the crowd. And so it's always fun to hear the stories and the memories. Any player that I talk to that graduated prior to the early 2000s is almost just laughing as they look around, because I asked them, like, what was it like when you were here, and facilities weren't bad, but they were a little different, and they were like, man, it was like a different sport, completely different experience. So it's, as we talk about kind of the perspective of how much things have grown around here, it's fun to talk to guys like that where they were in a completely different world and environment in terms of facilities and financial resources and everything.
It's always struck me, too, because I did those interviews until a couple years ago when Chris started doing them, and I was always just so struck with, like, just the awe of being back. And also, I should say, like, a lot of times this is maybe the first time that some of these former players have come back to campus. And those were always fun moments for me when they get to bring their families back, and, like, see what has changed, but also to have them jog down memory lane is pretty special.
It is. A lot of them will move on with their life, and maybe they'll try to make the NFL or play in the CFL, and inevitably their athletic career ends, and then they try and go into the business world, and they're working towards something, and they become very successful in whatever category, and they realize, I haven't been back to Autzen Stadium in years. And then they were able to bring back their family, and Sonny Harris was here, and he's able to tell his kids, this is what Dad used to do. I used to play here. I used to walk on this field, and all these people used to cheer for me. And it's powerful opportunity for those families to come back, because, as you know, like, as we grow into being adults, it's not always easy to just fly back somewhere and carve out a weekend to make it happen, especially if you live in Texas and come back to Eugene. So getting those opportunities with the Order of the O is, I think, amazing for those former athletes.
I always love talking to them just to hear the stories, and then it also is a good reminder for me, like, I have not left here. Right.
Yeah.
In my career, I mean, you've left and come back. Like, it is a special thing to return to a place like this. How long did you go without being at Autzen Stadium? What's the longest point in your life without being at Autzen Stadium?
I graduated in 2017, and I didn't come back for a Ducks game until I think it's 2019.
2019.
So like 2 years.
So 2 years.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Right.
That's enough.
Because before that, it was pretty much annual, at least once, from I was like 6 years old.
I was gonna say Chris was in like the Duck baby costumes. At Once Upon a Time.
Yeah. And I'm part of the Medford Duck fan base that makes the drive, the pilgrimage north to get to Eugene, to go up I-5 to go to your 1 or 2 games a year, because it's not easy making it all the way up.
That's right. No, that's interesting. I hadn't really considered that for you, The longest period you've gone without being at Autzen is like 2 years. That's pretty great.
Yep.
That's pretty sweet. Chris Clayton also, of course, getting ready for another women's basketball season alongside Bev Smith. What's the make on the team? What do we think heading into this season?
Really exciting. I mean, I love hoop season, so I'm excited for it to be back. But this team's going to be exciting to watch. You're going to hear from Kelly Graves at Big Ten Media Days, and we'll talk to him more as the season approaches. But the one thing you'll hear him talk about is the offense he's really excited about. He embraced the defensive grind mentality of last year's team, but he's an offensive coach. Yeah. He wants to score points, and that's what this year's team is slated to do. The big piece that they got in the transfer portal that's going to really help them do that, to be able to run the floor, space the floor, Mia Jacobs from Fresno State. She had a great career there. Really good scorer. She's multifaceted. She can rebound really well. But I think she's going to really thrive with the teammates she has at Oregon. When you have the weapons that the Ducks have around her, it's going to allow her to really show her full skill set. So you could play her at the 4, at the 5, and be able to run the floor and shoot the ball from the outside that Oregon couldn't do last year.
Right.
And then you have Amina Muhammad as another forward that comes back. And there aren't many posts or centers in the country that in a straight line, off a rebound, run the floor, that can keep up with Amina Muhammad. So I think you're going to see fast break, you're going to see scoring, you're going to see electric Katie Fiso with the ball in her hands, some excellent guard play, and that's the mentality, and I think that's what Kelly Graves is really excited about, is he wants to get back to a high level of scoring, and they should be able to do that this year.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, you talk about not having anyone transfer out. Still some players to replace, but it feels like they've built a team that has a really strong, and in some ways in today's world, I feel like larger core than maybe a lot of programs are used to around the country.
Nobody transferred. People graduated, but nobody transferred. I think that's a testament to the culture they have and the belief they have in one another. Elisa Mevius comes back. She's the type of player that is really going to thrive too, and I think this more spacing system, if you watch her play in the 3-on-3 German national team where she won a gold medal, that's where she's at her best.
Right.
When it's a little bit quicker, there's more spacing, she's one-on-one, and we've obviously seen that in the past, but you're going to see that a lot more this year. So there's plenty of reason to be excited. You have Sarah Rambis coming back, where Sophia Bell is coming back this season and going to be healthy, and Ahisa Tute coming back in the front court. You could bring in a transfer Estera Tahina and then a couple other freshmen. I mean, you could go down this roster and see if everybody takes a leap forward, like I'm sure they will because they've been working their tail off this offseason, and to your point, playing together. So they have that. Last year you think everybody's just kind of meeting each other. They're trying to bond. For the most part, this team, there are some newcomers, but they can focus on that on-court chemistry, and that's where I think it's really going to help. But there's a lot of home games this year too, so you rack up hopefully the wins, and you get opportunities for Duck fans to take it in. The schedule looks good this year. I'm feeling optimistic, man.
The team, I think, feels optimistic. The broadcaster feels optimistic. And we've got women's basketball games at Matthew Knight Arena this month. Yeah. Chris will have the call alongside Bev Smith on the Oregon Sports Network for every game this season.
October 30th.
October 30th.
Exhibition.
That's right. The men start on October 24th against Utah. An exhibition at Matthew Knight Arena. We're close. We're closing in.
Yeah.
It's time for me to start ironing out, who's who and who's going to do what. But like with the women, I mean, still a lot of practice time.
Yeah.
Still time to figure out that rotation.
Coaches are figuring that out too.
That's right.
Who works well together. And as we think about football and soccer and volleyball, basketball coaches, players, they're thinking about how are we going to win games this year.
Right.
So that's part of the fun and beauty of being around a college athletic department is somebody's always scheming.
There's always something.
Someone's always working towards a championship.
And it's always moving toward, yeah, exactly. Like sometimes it's the off season, then it's the preseason, then it's your in season. I mean, it never slows down.
Nope.
Which makes it fun. He's Chris Clayton. Hey, good to talk to you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Chris, part of our pregame show coming up 10:30 with a 12:30 kickoff this Saturday, Ducks and Hoosiers. Conversations with student athletes, honorary captains, a whole lot more women's basketball season coming up. Thanks, Chris. That was fun catching up with Chris Clayton. He'll be more involved with Oregon football and, of course, basketball moving forward. You'll hear from him a lot more on this show as we approach the winter months. Time out here, and when we return, Tracy Joyner with us, talking Oregon soccer on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
When I met both of them, it was like my missing pieces were found. Like it was just like an instant, these are my kids. If you're considering adopting a teen, just do it. Kids need families. I don't care the age, everybody deserves a family.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Doug Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio, where yesterday, before hitting the road, we sat down with Oregon soccer head coach Tracy Joyner for our weekly conversation talking Duck soccer with head coach Tracy Joyner. Time to talk a little Oregon soccer. Tracy Joyner is in the Country Financial Studio. The longest walk of any head coach in the entire athletic department. Have you counted how many steps it takes to go from chair to chair?
No, but my guess is about 20.
Yeah, if that. I mean, it is right there. And I have to say again, I am so happy that it is a coaching staff that enjoys leaving doors open and talking. I have learned more. I don't know if I've said this to you. I have learned more about soccer in probably the last 4 months than I could have ever learned in an actual soccer academy, because I'm just listening to smart people talk about soccer all the time. So
well,
thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we love this. This is what we do. Livelihood, just our passion. So I'm glad.
How many hours of soccer have you watched in your life?
Oh my gosh. I couldn't quantify it. I have no idea.
What's like an average season's amount of film consumed? Maybe let's go by the week. If you're scouting like you're about to for 2 games, how many hours are we talking?
Sure. I would say for scout, we're looking at watching at least 3 to 4 games per team. Yeah. So times 90.
There you go.
Times, stopping, clipping, rewatching, clipping, stopping, all the things. So basically I'd say probably 10 to 12 hours per scout.
There it is.
Yeah.
I was just curious because I, as you can imagine, you all are at Pape Field. You're all over the place, and this is what it is.
No doubt, right? And that's just watching your opponent. And so right. we've split up tasks. I obviously watch our opponents quite a bit, but Chris and Kat do the scouts for the team. I do our team film. So we've got watching our own games, breaking that down, working on individual player development, specific points to them, and how they can improve their game, but then also highlighting and looking at our opponents' weaknesses or strengths and how we can exploit them or protect our own. So Yeah, it's a lot, but I mean, we love watching soccer, so this is what we do.
That's right. Getting ready for Ohio State and Penn State, the trip ahead. Let's look back, though, at USC. I described it when reviewing it on the show, Coach, as a grinder. How did you all describe it as a staff and as a team?
I don't think we had anything specific outside of just it was heartbreaking in some ways.
I mean, a goal that late's always tough, right?
No doubt. And like to hold a team like USC to, a shutout with 4 minutes left to go, it was pretty tough to give up a goal at that point. But also on the flip side of that, again, created some really great opportunities to score and win the game ourselves. So I felt like to not get at least a point out of it was pretty disappointing. And the effort was incredible. That was one of the best team collective efforts that, we've had. And I can't even say that the goal was like a letdown in terms of us like taking a playoff as we've done in some games past. It was a special player scored a very special goal, but that's the type of player that we're competing against, and we've got to be prepared for and ready to battle with.
Yeah, on one hand, it's like, all right, I get it. On the other hand, it's like, I mean, that's got to be the reaction for the team. I mean, you could see it, right? Like being there at Pavitt Field, you saw it, like. But I'm glad that you compliment the effort, though, Coach. I mean, right? That's got to feel good from a coaching perspective.
Yeah, and this the things that we know give us confidence as our defensive organization and our work rate now. We can continue to count on ourselves in that way. So that's definitely a source of confidence for us. Where we lack confidence is obviously in front of goal because we've not capitalized on some really incredible opportunities. But at the very least, like we know we can count on ourselves in those defensive organization moments, and that the grit that's required to play at this level is really starting to be more consistent. And so I think we're holding on to that. And that's a big positive for us and growth for the program.
Well, and touching on it a bit there, I mean, I know defense was a focus, right, coming into it, and you've been in really every game because of that defense. What is your breakdown of your team's defense right now and moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing we're being rewarded in some ways, like with the effort and with the organization. And so it's easier to commit to doing something more when you know that you're being rewarded by doing that thing. And so, pretty happy across the board. Again, like there's been one or two like focus errors where those are the moments that hurt us. But
and of course the opposing team scores in those moments, right? That's the way it always works.
That's how the one time you don't track your players, the one time that player gets the ball, and so that's just how it goes. And again, like, when you play against special players, they're gonna do, what they do, but we have to be better on the offensive side of the ball because we know that almost every team in the Big Ten has one or two very special players. So like we could give up goals, and it's okay to give up a goal in the run of play, but we don't want focus air goals. And we have to make sure that we're doing the right things composure wise in front of goal on the other side so that, if we do give up a goal, we're still in it. It's a tie game. Maybe we're winning. So defending takes you far for sure. We love that, phrase, defense wins championships. But unfortunately, you got to score a few goals.
Right. Tracy Joyner joining us. To that point, I mean, one of these is going to go in, and then the floodgates are going to open. I'm manifesting that.
Manifest it. Yes, we'll take all of the manifestation that's out there. Yeah, the focus this week has really been about capitalizing on opportunities, especially when we're numbers up. There's a lot of different breakaway opportunities we had, or we were, in a transitional moment going to goal, and we were in a 3v2 or a 4v3, and we weren't identifying the better decision to make. And so we highlighted a lot of that in film, and then the past 2 days at training has been, working on identifying the free player and taking advantage of, being in a numerical advantage in front of goal.
Is there something to be said just for the confidence, too, of seeing one go in? I mean, when you have those moments where it's just like, can one of these just go through? Like, there has to be some confidence built there when one goes in, I'd hope, right?
Yeah, especially when this sounds weird, but when it's not a pretty goal, when it's just like a scrappy,
sometimes you just need the universe to give you one.
No doubt. And, pretty goals are really hard to come by. Yeah. That's not really how this game works. And so when you're rewarded with a goal just from like full out, like effort, passion, I'm going to sacrifice my body to get on the end of this. Like those are the goals that feel really good because you like died on the field for it to happen.
Yeah.
And it's just a great way to energize your team also is when they see their teammate doing that extra bit of effort. Like they want to do the same thing because it's such a satisfying feeling when you work so hard for something and then to see it come to fruition is an incredible feeling. We want to replicate that. We want to reinforce it and you want to do it again. So absolutely.
And you've had opportunities. I mean, creating them. Your team has done, I feel like, a good job creating those, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly. We've got some good, some very, very good attacking minds. And again, just capitalizing on those moments. And of course, it's easier said than done. We've seen that over and over again. And what I love about this team is that those players are taking ownership. I don't think that they're, looking the other way in film of like, well, who was that on film? Like they're leaning into it. They're accepting responsibility for not being better in those moments. And they do want to do the work. They do want to commit to finishing those chances. And so, again, I think it speaks a lot to just the culture that's being created here and the standards and the expectations that they have for themselves.
Next up, Oregon soccer hitting the road Thursday, 4 o'clock at Ohio State, and then at Penn State on Sunday at 10 a.m. A charter flight, I understand, heading out east, huh?
We get to hit the PJ, baby.
Cool.
Let's go, right?
That's exciting.
I know. It's super exciting. The team is very excited. I think they're pretending they're excited just because they, miss less class and they get to, just fly direct. But I'm like, you guys are excited for the PJ.
Hey,
it's okay.
Look, there can be multiple reasons, right?
There can be two things true at one time.
Exactly.
No doubt.
So, I call that a savvy team. Like Coach, we're really excited to miss less class. Also,
let's see how many stories go on Instagram of them just like walking up the stairs, across the tarmac. Yeah, we'll live it up for sure.
I can tell you from experience, the like walking out across the tarmac, like not just like quickly outside to the little prop plane that sometimes you fly regionally on, like when you are walking on the runway, it is a little bit of a surreal experience.
No doubt.
You're like, whoa, wait, I'm allowed to be out here? Whoa, it's kind of cool.
I know. They'll be excited. It'll be a fun experience for them for sure.
But you talk about the student athlete experience. I mean, that we kind of joke and say tongue in cheek, but on a trip like that, it is nice to have a little bit more of an efficient travel schedule. I bet that helps the coaching staff get ready.
No doubt. And even just, like for the recruits that listen to this, not everyone gets to fly chartered. And it is a special perk of being an Oregon Duck that we are very, very grateful for. And yeah, of course, for the staff, anything, to be fair, that gets taken off of our plate in terms of like recovery and just like ease and access to a cleaner travel schedule,
Sure.
especially being in this conference where the demand is really high. We'll take it, and we certainly are grateful.
So Ohio State, Penn State road trip coming up. Some keys to success. What do you want to see from your team?
Kind of more of the same in terms of the defensive mindset. Two very, very good teams. Penn State's in the top of the conference. Ohio State's right around the middle right now. And again, they both have really special players. But, I think we've been pretty good on the road in terms of our performance for the most part. And so, excited to get back out there. And, even regardless of the results, on the weekend, like, I think my feedback is always, hey guys, guess what? We get to do this again.
True.
And what a feeling. So every game is a new opportunity. I don't think anyone's looking backwards. We continue to look forward and embrace each game as a new opportunity to, continue growing and learning from each other and competing.
Oregon soccer on the road. Head coach Tracy Joyner joining us every week. Thanks for the time, Coach.
Thank you.
Always appreciate catching up with Coach Joyner as they hit the road for the weekend. Timeout when we come back. Theron Johnson, some familiarity against this Indiana offense from a year ago before transferring to the Ducks. We'll hear from him next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by one of your local branches today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
When life blindsides you with an injury, you need a team that's tough. For over 30 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people. This season, we're proud to partner with Oregon Athletics. Because whether it's on the field or in the courtroom, we're both determined to do what it takes to win. Morgan & Morgan, proud partner of Oregon Athletics. Injured? Dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, 10150 Southwest 6th Avenue, Portland. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
This message is for Shauna, my mom who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You told me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself.
Oregon getting ready to play Indiana as we welcome you back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Our pregame show begins at 10:30 for that 12:30 kickoff against Indiana on Saturday, televised on CBS. I'll tell you, Theron Johnson has fit right in Oregon secondary, and he has some experience before transferring to play for the Ducks against this Indiana explosive offense under Curt Cignetti, and he also grew up in that area. So he has a good perspective on what the Hoosiers bring to the table. Theron Johnson.
Having faced this offense a year ago, I'm just curious on kind of what your takeaways are and kind of some of the keys to facing these guys.
Winning first down. Winning first down is a big key. And then just, playing nice coverage, nice man-to-man coverage on the outside. It's a big key. They like RPOs, a lot of quick hitter stuff. So just, being all over it.
Speaking of that, obviously last year, though, they didn't have Fernando Mendoza, and this year, obviously, he's having the best year of his career, collegiate. What do you see from him, and what do you feel like you guys need to do to kind of put him off his game, considering that he's only thrown one interception thus far this season?
I mean, last year, they had a Heisman runner for quarterback as well. So I don't really feel like too much has changed between the quarterbacks from this year to last year. Like, they had a Heisman runner. So we're just coming in, trying to execute our game plan. We're not really worried about what they're doing.
You guys proved yourself on a really big stage last game. What kind of confidence has that allowed your team, and how have you kind of seen that present itself over the bye week and into this week?
All that confidence just comes from doing it in practice. Like I've said it before, all the connection, the chemistry, it all happens out on the practice field. Like, it doesn't just happen on game day. And everybody's already been confident in me because I do it in practice. So it's really not too much to explain there.
What have you seen from their receivers, and how are you preparing for that?
They got really good hands, strong hands. They don't really drop too much. Make a lot of contested catches, and then downfield, it's a lot of back shoulders. So just honing in on that, making sure we IDing if the shoulder's turning back, so we can go chest to chest. Yeah.
Sure, part of the reason coming from Northwestern to Oregon was just to play in games like you played in a couple weeks ago. What was it like for you, just on a personal level, having a moment like that, a big victory, and being able to kind of share in that?
It was huge. I haven't really been a part of a win like that, or a game day like that in general. So it was just a new experience. But I've played at Penn State before. I'm pretty sure it was a whiteout as well. Wasn't like that scene, but I've played in environments like that. So just coming in focused and not letting the moment get too big for you.
Kind of piggybacking off that, obviously you guys get back-to-back top 10 matchups for this program. Just what do these opportunities, when you get the experience to play off against the top teams of the country with the top team in the country, mean to you personally?
This is my 5th year in college football, so I've played all these teams like multiple times. And so like for me now, it's not really like a big deal of like who we're going against. It's just another game. So just coming in with the same mentality that I've been coming in with for the last 6 weeks.
Just how beneficial was the bye to you? Like we saw what happened with Penn State on Saturday. It looked like the game you guys played them took a lot out of them going into the next week. Just how beneficial was it to kind of like rest and reset and get ready for this week?
It was huge. Like you hit it. Everybody got a chance to rest and recover, and that was a really physical game. So I feel like it was a nicely placed and welcomed bye week, and get everybody's bodies back right, get back healthy. So yeah.
Spoke at the scene in Happy Valley. How excited are you for Saturday with game day here, students back? It's gonna be. I mean, you've seen Autzen games, but not quite to this level. How excited are you for that?
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah, like you said, I've played here, but I mean, Oregon State, everybody wasn't back. So I'm excited just to have a full house, get to really experience it.
Someone from Indiana, and obviously having played them throughout your career, just how has your view and perception of that program and that team changed from even high school and growing up to what they've done the last couple of years?
I mean, like, when I was growing up, I mean, kind of like a laughingstock, I would say. But, I mean, really turned it around. Like, now they're respected, beating ranked teams. So you can't do anything but tip your hat off to them. And, yeah, we respect them, and I know that they respect us, so we just coming in ready to battle.
Well, and to that point, as we hear there from Theron Johnson, a guy who can speak to what Indiana football meant to that part of the country growing up in Indiana. And now, look at him. That's a credit to what Curt Cignetti has done, building this program into a bona fide top 10 team taking on the Ducks here this weekend. Don Fisher, the longtime voice of the Hoosiers, is our guest tomorrow. His 53rd season calling Indiana football and men's basketball. I'm telling you. You want to listen to that tomorrow as we talk with Don Fisher. When we come back on Duck Insider right now, we're going to hear from Jamari Johnson after that great shovel pass, if you can call it that, touchdown play that the Ducks ran to score. That was a fun play. Jamari Johnson breaks it down next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights, speaking in public. The list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
My name is Ariel. I moved to the U.S. at 19. I spoke no English and I struggled finding job opportunities. Everything I have, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and getting my high school diploma at age 22.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack. Oregon men's golf dropped a couple matches yesterday, but they will wrap up their tournament against UNLV in match play today. Live scoring is underway, televised on the Golf Channel right now until about 4:30 if you're live with us here in the 1 o'clock approaching the 2 o'clock hour. Pretty cool. And after posting an undefeated weekend in her collegiate debut, freshman Hadley Appling has been named the Big Ten Freshman of the Week from the Oregon women's tennis team. Went 3-0 with 3 different doubles partners in the Duck Invitational over the weekend. Congratulations and welcome to Oregon, Hadley Appling. Jamari Johnson, Oregon tight end, we can welcome him with his first touchdown in a Duck uniform. He broke it down and met with the media this week getting ready for Indiana and looking back at Penn State.
Dante was just talking about that overtime shovel pass and how chaotic it was like from his end. Can you talk about it from your side? Because obviously you had to make a couple moves there to get in.
Yeah, it was wild. It was a lot of chaos and a lot of crowd noise, you know. But it was a moment. It was an experience for sure. To be honest, I didn't think he was going to pitch it to me, but once I got that ball in my hands, man, it just felt like something just shocked me. I just had to get in the end zone, so that's what I did.
How much confidence you guys gained from that win, and how have you kind of seen that? I don't know if it's changed the team at all, changed your mindset, or just kind of the freeness that you're able to play with going forward?
Nah, I don't think it really changed our mindset or changed anything. It was just a game. It was a heated game for sure, but it didn't change anything, though.
Indiana's a very active team on the defensive line. How does that change your assignment for this week in terms of chipping or kind of staying in longer?
You said their ends are pretty good, and how does that change it? It doesn't really change anything. Play against good ends, I would say, well, a lot, but it doesn't really change anything. It's going to be the same chip, same run block, you know, same thing for all around.
You guys obviously got the experience to face off against 110,000 fans at Penn State. How good does it feel to have the home crowd back on your back with a top 10 matchup here in Autzen this weekend?
It was good, man. You know, coming off that win, it doesn't change anything, like I said, but it definitely feels good after that, and hopefully the Autzen Stadium has our back coming into this game.
Your first Oregon touchdown to come in that way, in overtime, in that environment, what did that feel like? I mean, just after the game, what were your emotions like?
It felt good. Really, that's all I got for you. I didn't really have no crazy emotions or nothing like that. It was just another game. Luckily, I was the one to get in the end zone in overtime.
What do you see specifically this week from 46 and 6 on their edges?
They're good players for sure, but for us, again, it doesn't really change anything, but they're definitely good players for sure.
Jamari Johnson, Duck tight end, meeting with the media, getting ready for Oregon and Indiana. It is a 10:30 pregame show for us, a 12:30 kickoff on CBS. Ducks and Hoosiers in a top 10 battle at Autzen. ESPN's College Game Day will be here for all of you students. Just make sure that you get to the game. Doesn't matter if you don't sleep at night and you're around the quad, just make it to the game. Oregon Football Coaches Show tonight with Rashad Samples and Mateo Uyungale. See you then.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption